Ladies and gentlemen, dear professors, dear colleagues, my name is Yingying Wu. I'm from the University of Frankfurt in Germany, and currently I'm doing my doctoral thesis at the Department of Psychosomatic Medicine, which is also a branch of the psychiatry department. Well, today I'm talking about my topic, the influence of bicultural identity on recalled parental rearing, personality, body perception, and emotion in young overseas Chinese. Wow, this is really long, but it's all about bananas. So what is a banana? A banana is, of course, a fruit. It is the yellow thing you peel and eat. And as you can see, the banana is yellow on the outside, so that stands for a person of Asian origin. Okay, and it is also white in the inside. So that symbolizes a person with Western intellect. So basically, we're just talking about overseas Chinese, or descendants of overseas Chinese. Other expressions for that is ABC, American-born Chinese, BBC, and by the way, I'm a GBC, a German-born Chinese. Okay, we only have a small Chinese community in Germany right now. We don't have any Chinatown yet, and according to social studies, there are virtually no political or social problems related to Chinese migrants. So that is maybe why there are also no psychological studies until now about overseas Chinese in Germany. So the main question in our study is, does the Chinese internalization and the adaptation to the European surrounding play a role in recalled parental rearing, in personality, in experiencing emotion, and also body perception? To determine that, we recruited 154 overseas Chinese college students all over Germany through a network webpage, which was very like Facebook, and the age ranged from 17 to 35 years. Most of the participants came from mainland China, from Hong Kong, and from Taiwan. And most of them were born in Germany, or they have already lived in Germany for more than 10 years. We used various standardized psychometric testing methods. The participants filled out many different tests to determine their personality, their parental rearing, body perception, empathy, experiencing emotion, and resilience. On top of that, we also created our own test. I just called it banana test because it measured the Asian identity and the European integration. Originally, we had 34 different questions, different items, and each of the questions contained 4 different answers, ranging from very Asian to very European. And these questions covered up the fields of language, dating, food, beauty ideals, and so on. Using the independent component analysis, we figured out 3 different scales, 3 different categories. Category 1 concerns about the language, connection to the country of origin. Category 2 about moral values, and Category 3 about the lifestyle. So let me show you some descriptive results about the mother tongue Chinese. We can see that that most of the participants, most of the overseas Chinese speak Chinese at home more than German, but when it comes to Chinese writing, about 1/3 of them admit that their Chinese writing is not really good. Okay, the question about food. Have you ever heard of bubble tea, stinky tofu, or chicken feet? Sorry for that mistake here. So we can, surprisingly, nobody never heard about it, so everybody heard about it, and more than half of them also miss the tasty food from their home country. How about the skin colors? Which skin color looks better on Asian people? Normally we expect Asian people to like the white skin color, and the Westerners would rather prefer the tan skin color. Every time I return to Germany, the German always asks me, why didn't you get browner? So how about my overseas Chinese? We can see that most of them also prefer the lighter skin color, so the white or yellow. Okay, how about kissing in public? Is that okay or not? For Westerners, it is of course okay, But here in my study group, we can see that most of them would not kiss in front of the relatives or also in front of the parents. And sex before marriage, is that okay or not? Well, here we can see that my participants were really honest, so they say, of course, it's okay. And that's the result which really shocked my parents, by the way. Okay, talking about parents. When my parents are getting older, I will live with the parents or visit them at a nursing home. Westerners would rather live in a nursing home and go for a walk with their dog, but Eastern families would prefer to live with their family under a roof. So in my study group, we can see that the overseas Chinese would also live near the parents, but not so many would live with the parents under one roof. Okay, let's go to the inference results. First about the recalled parental rearing. What is recalled parental rearing? Basically, recalled parental rearing is the parental education which is perceived by the child. So we are talking about the warmth of the parents, we are talking about control, we are talking about punishment, and we can see that parents, the Chinese parents, would carry out higher control and higher punishment to their children. And this is what I also can confirm from my parents. I think my parents are quite strict on the one hand, but on the other hand, they are also very caring and they worry about many things. So it's very nice and cozy to be in my family and to grow up in that family, but it is also harder to get independent and to grow up. I also have some correlations, but we don't have time for that, sorry. How about the personality? Compared to the German sample, the Chinese sample has lower neuroticism. That means a person with lower neuroticism is more stable in his character. He doesn't freak out in a stressing situation. And also he has less openness to a new experience, but this is very important to preserve your own culture. We can see that the Chinese sample has greater extroversion, so he or she is livelier, is very interested in public events, and also higher agreeableness, so it's more altruistic, and also more consciousness, so this explains the typical Chinese straightforward, hard-working attitude. Okay, also some correlations. How about experiencing emotion? Where my overseas Chinese bananas, they have less ability to symbolize through their body. So that means they are not able to listen to the body signals like heart beating or stomach ache. Okay, the body, last but not least, the body perception. We can see in the t-test that most of them have less self-confidence in their own attractivity. Well, this is no wonder if you are surrounded by Western people, if you are surrounded by Western media, which always show you tall people with big eyes, and if you compare your body proportion with the body proportion of the Western people, of course, you think, wow, why am I so small? So this is one of the explanations, and this is also very important because it can maybe cause some psychological disease like an eating disorder, for examples. Okay, we are already at the critical points of my study. Well, the banana questionnaire, which I designed, needs to be validated with control groups. So we really need to look for a pure German group and also for a pure Chinese group to validate that questionnaire. And the conclusion of my study is that living a bicultural identity may have implications for an individual's psychological development, and these influences really need to be considered in the psychotherapy process. Well, thank you for your attention, and above all, I really have to thank my 154 Chinese testing persons and my psychosomatic medicine team in Frankfurt. This is my, especially my professor, Dr. Aglaya Stirn, and all the all the team in Frankfurt. Any questions? Hopefully only questions which I can answer. Thank you.
Is there any questions? Thanks for Yan Ying again.